Aha. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Wow. Even I am able to go. Now I have to Renadian send a request to be in your live video. Go for it. How do I do that? Go live with Renadian. Hello. Waiting for Renadian.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Hello, hello.
Oh my gosh, it's been forever.
And you have a kid now. Oh my goodness. How are you?
I'm good, and you have a kid.
Yes. Oh, and she is
We
now
have kids.
obliged to talk as well. No, she's busy. She has to watch Masha and the Bear.
Okay,
So,
well, I want to meet her later.
yeah. Jubu, you want to say hello quick?
Forrest, can you say hello?
I'll just
Hello.
say hello real quick. Jubu. Say
Oh my
hello.
goodness. Look at those cheeks. Hi, honey.
Say hello.
I could just spend the interview with the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that. Next one.
All right.
All right, let's start. How shall we start? How shall we do this?
Well, I'm interviewing you, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Mateo Klemmayer, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Zarely.
That's right.
And that's me.
Well, I'll introduce myself. I'm Frances Chung. Mateo and I used to dance together at San Francisco Ballet many moons ago.
Yes. And
Oh my gosh.
you were amazing. You were such an amazing dancer. We were dancing together in San Francisco, and we were dancing together on our tours to Europe, which was great
Oh my
fun.
gosh. Those I will remember forever.
Yeah.
I think there were what, like four tours to Germany and Poland and wherever else.
Yeah. Yeah. That was so much fun. The best one was when you ran on stage for what was it, Flames?
Flames of Paris.
And you hit the floor right coming on.
Oh, but I think that might have been my best performance yet. I ran on, fell right before the variation, and then I was like, well, the worst has happened, and I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
But hey.
You had your neck out or something, no?
Yeah, I have chronic neck issues. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
Okay.
So, I had a list of questions, but let's just go. We're going to go off script.
Okay.
But
go.
I actually, wait, how long has Zarely been around for now?
4 years, 5 years,
Oh
4 years, probably more. Yeah, it's not that long. I feel like 2015, we were like preparing everything and getting the tights ready. I mean, just the tights alone took us like a year. Because I mean, I actually moved for like several months to North Carolina to work with these manufacturers to get this compression and all that sort of stuff right. So that took us, the whole thing at the beginning took us like almost a whole year, and then we launched. So yeah, maybe 4.5 or something like this, I would think.
Crazy. That's amazing. I'm not sure I realized it took you that long to get everything prepared and like right, you know.
It was horrible. Also because
I remember actually we did talk about like the colors, like because you change colors multiple times just to get like the perfect color, and then like the feel, the material, and
yeah, so many things. And I mean, right at the beginning, I mean, before I moved to Raleigh, just to have like all the input from the manufacturers and so on, it was actually it was so hard to even understand where this supply chain is and this ecosystem, right? So who is really making great tights? And actually what was a big issue, oh, she has an issue now. Actually was a big problem for us was so many of these tights manufacturers, they had stopped working because all the business went to China.
Right.
The manufacturing went to China. And so it was very hard to actually find these like real top-notch know-how carriers for us to work with. Yeah, that took forever. And then also, of course, it was quite difficult then, first of all, to convince them to work with us, just some random startup. And then, yeah, the back and forth. So, I mean, how many loops did we have? So, you know, we made a tight, then we sent it to many dancers. They gave feedback. Then we adjusted the tights and we did. So this took forever. And yeah, the whole thing, the whole setup took us a good year, I would think.
So that's actually great to know. I feel like if people are like investing in these tights, like it's great to know that, like where they're from and how they're like made. Cause I feel like most things now are made in China. So it's pretty rare to know that, there are things coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
From North Carolina, right? Is that where? That's really cool.
Yeah, a big chunk is made in North Carolina, and then we have also in Ukraine people sitting, creating stuff and manufacturing, and we try to put as much. So most, maybe not everybody knows that, but 90%, no, 99% of everything that is made for the dance market right now is coming from manufacturers in China, and then, you know, the big companies, they put their branding on it and then they sell it, which fair enough, there's nothing wrong with that. But for us, it was very important really early on already to really be close to the supply chain, physically, but also mentally. Like, you know, we wanted to know that there's happy people making our tights. And that's why also when we didn't find the right manufacturers, for example, for some activewear clothing and so on, we actually started insourcing and creating them ourselves. So that in the end, because only then we would know that ethically, morally, they were done perfect and not somewhere in Bangladesh or something like this where you don't know, you know. I'm sure a lot of them are great, but obviously not all of them.
Yeah. Very cool. That's so cool. Wait, so I want to know like your day to day, because the last time we saw each other, was it in London? I feel like you were just starting Zarely, and we just so happened to be in London together. Was that the last time we saw each other, or was it in San Francisco? I can't remember.
No, I think we were in San Francisco. I was in San Francisco after that. We did some like online streaming video thing in San Francisco.
Okay. Yeah. Where are you now? What's your day to day? You're the founder, CEO of Zarely. What else are you up to?
So at the moment, I'm in several ventures really. I've just sold off 2 companies last year. One optics company and one medical company for medical packaging. And we started. So Zarely is one of the big ones, but operationally the guys are handling, I think, most of it, and they're handling it very well, I think. I'm just involved, 2-3 days a week or something like this at max. But we have more stuff coming. So we're trying to innovate on all angles now. Our focus is on Zarely, but also on different other things. We're working on some I'm not allowed to say that yet, but on some new websites in the ballet realm, for some new services. So we're trying to innovate in ballet.
So not dancewear, doing other things.
Exactly.
Within the ballet world.
Exactly. Streaming sites, live video sites, blah blah blah. But it's not. You will hear all about it probably within the next 2 weeks. So we have several projects there, and then completely different ones. So for me, it's always important. I would like to do in my life things that make this world a better world in the end. So a lot of it is at the moment where I'm looking into is circular economy. So basically how can we prevent waste or reuse waste in different ways. And so, yeah, I'm working with nanotechnology experts and manufacturing experts and so on, because we're trying to set up a system that basically helps this whole, well, that helps this problem of waste. How can we recycle? How can we be better? Yeah, so that's a big project, and then I'm investing a little bit, but not like big ticket stuff.
Wait, so I think most people would want to know how you go from ballet dancer to researching nanotechnology. Like, how did you get your in on something that has nothing to do with ballet? Obviously, Zarely is within the ballet world, but you just mentioned that you, I don't know, you've always been interested in so many different things. And I feel like you've always had your hand in so many different things within ballet, but then also like outside of the ballet world. So like before we talk about like your background in ballet, I want to know how you even like begin, like you talked about medical packaging. How do you go from ballet dancer to owning a company and selling a company that has to do with medical packaging?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I'm super curious. I'm probably saying mostly yes when I see an opportunity out there, and then I'm running after it. And that has not always helped me. So sometimes I'm running into completely wrong directions. But I think just the mentality of getting excited about things and being curious helps a lot. And as you said, so when we were actually dancing together, and I think I did a piss poor job towards the end of my career as a dancer, because there was just too much out there, right? So we set up together these performances, and we were performing in this warehouse, and then we did performances, and we toured with them, and so on and so on. It was so much fun, and then we started to think about other ways to use this warehouse, and we promoted like rave parties and stuff like that.
Okay, so just a background on this warehouse. Mateo and a few other guys lived in a warehouse that was how big? It was a really big warehouse in the middle of San Francisco in Potrero Hill area. Yeah. And you guys would just use this space to create, to like hold parties, to hold performances. And it was, what was it called?
Urban Arts Farm.
Urban Arts Farm, that's right. It was a really neat space. Anyway, so continue.
Yeah, good one. Good to you interrupting me and you explaining things. So we did a lot of stuff there. I did always a lot of stuff on the side somehow, and it completely took over to the point that I remember I had a rehearsal for Nutcracker. I think if Diego is listening, he's probably cracking up by now. Because so I had to put this huge hat on, and I had no idea about the choreography. I had never actually even rehearsed with it. And Helgi Thomasson, the director, he came in to check on how we were doing in the rehearsals.
Oh my God, I totally heard about this situation.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, I think everybody did, because I was rambling. I was like banging into people. And then at the end of this whole variation that I had to do with this huge hat, I started to do these pirouettes, and people kept shouting at me the choreography because I really had no idea. So I suddenly, with this huge hat on me, I started to do pirouettes, grand pirouettes again, and I fell onto Helgi's lap. And I think that was just sort of like the last nail in my coffin. So yeah, he must have hated me, and I think for really good reason. I was really, I came in mostly not knowing what I was doing, because there were just so many other things, not intentionally. I always thought like, okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to learn this choreography, and then realize there was way too much to learn, and I would never actually make it until the rehearsal. And so,
and for all people who come to the San Francisco Ballet Nutcracker, I think a huge appreciation to all of the men who have to do the Nutcracker variation first act, with this enormous, and it's heavy too, right? It's like several pounds on your head, and you're doing real ballet. You're doing double tours, you're doing Alice turns, and some crazy stuff. But anyway, that's a great story.
You're doing it. I never did. I was supposed to, but yeah, most people are exactly. It's super hard, and also with the lighting. So you have this sort of like net in front of you, and with the lighting, I was fortunate enough never to actually do it on stage and kill anybody. But it's really, for those that do it, I think honestly it's the hardest part to do this one properly.
Probably.
Actually, our friend Poopy, Ben Stewart, he was, I think he was the best in this Nutcracker. He was like perfect, amazing.
Okay, veering off topic though. So you always had your hand in so many different things, even when you were a full-time dancer with multiple different ballet companies. Yeah. So continue from there.
Yeah. So then I decided. So I had quite a hefty knee injury, and I think I could have gotten back because I was working very hard with Lisa, our dear friend from Active Care, who did a great job, because at the beginning the doctor said that that was probably not something I would ever be dancing with again. But yeah, she's incredible, and she got me back. So this is the physiotherapist who has her own clinic there in San Francisco and who helped me. But really throughout this whole process, I was like, why bother? Why bother doing something? I mean, I was like, 28, 29 or something like this. Why bother doing something where I know I don't really have the head in there completely? Mm-hmm. And so I will always just do it half-assed. Mm-hmm. And so I then decided to go back to Europe, and I was starting to work for a small company there. They needed some marketing advice and stuff like this. First I tried to actually build Ballet Cologne. So in this big city where you performed also, Cologne it's the only big city in Europe probably of that size that doesn't have a ballet company. So it took us like half a year to try to set up this ballet company, almost a year even, to try set up this ballet company. And in the end we failed. We couldn't convince the right people, and so on and so on. And then the people that were doing the marketing in there, they had some marketing gig and, asked me to support. So I supported. And then as I started supporting this company, the lead manager there, the general manager of this company, very small company, decided to leave ship. And then because it turned out to be a bankrupt company, really. And so, that was the first one. So I started working in there. I was able to flip this. I just sort of like fell into it, really. Mm-hmm. And then another guy approached me and said, look, you sort of did a good job there, it seems. Can you help us too? And that was this optics company. I said, yes, I would love to help you guys. But
so crazy. Wait, where did this guy come from? And like how... So he said good job to this company that you turned around. And what company, like what was that? What was that like, company?
That was a plastics company for like automotive parts.
And how did you go into that though? Like from trying to start a ballet company to...
Really just through this mutual marketing people.
Okay.
So, and then, and then I basically fell into it really as the, hey, can you support us with marketing? And then,
I see.
Okay, this is basically bust. And then I was like, okay, look, let me do it. And then from there I went, so then this optics company actually, so it was like this, my father had some shares of this company, this optics company.
Okay.
And he was, he was saying, look, this company's dead, basically. Mm. And he told the majority shareholders, look, don't you want to talk to my son? Maybe, he can help.
Okay, backtrack. Hold on. I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Yeah. So do you have any background in marketing, Or is that just like all up in, like, how did you all of a sudden become a pro at marketing and turning around a small plastics company?
So I was never a pro. I really was just the dude who helped out. That was all.
Okay.
But you know, so it sounds sort of, I think for many dancers, and that's always the question, how is that even possible? It's fairly easy to get a company that is bankrupt. Seriously, because so out there, so just in Germany, there's 17,000 companies going bust every year. And I would say a big chunk of those, if you take on the debt or you're putting down or as a security your own wealth or future wealth, you can probably snatch a small insolvent company pretty easily.
I feel like most people just wouldn't want that stress, or
Exactly.
wouldn't even think about it,
Exactly.
or wouldn't even be interested in it, because it's, yeah, it seems like a lot, just seems like a lot.
Exactly. It's a lot of stress, and it is saying yes to something where you really, and obviously today I would never do this. You do that when you're single, when you have nothing to lose, really, right? And I think really that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Just as you said, if from the moment that you have something to lose, well, it's really risky.
Right.
Well, granted, I did, in parallel to this, I did my MBA, so I had some know-how there, and then a lot of it is really, honestly, I think, like turning around companies. I think it gets easier with time. So I've flipped several companies, and gets easier with time because you know where to start, and you have your sort of like process, and you know where to look into it first, and so on and so on. But I think really at the beginning, I think everybody can do it. Everybody can.
I like how you say it all nonchalantly. You're like, and then in the middle of flipping companies, I just got my MBA, and no biggie.
What it comes down to is, do you want to put in the hours and have humongous amount of risk? Because then every dancer could do it. Any person on the street could do it. If you are wanting to take the risk. And really, I was, for like several years, I was sleeping in the office. I was sleeping for 3-4 hours, getting up and kept working. There was nothing else. And I keep saying that because people go like, "What? How did you do it?" Well, if you give yourself, like, for example, there is a task, and you give yourself 20 hours to do it, even though a pro would do it in 2. Then really, it's just about putting in more hours, right?
Yeah.
And really, that was that was it at the beginning. And then over time, after a while you do it, then you learn it. I would say the MBA taught me a lot, but really the biggest teaching was just on the job.
Right. I feel like the more professionals, no matter what field you're in, the more I hear that, like, schooling is one thing, but like almost like being an apprentice, you learn a lot more. If that's exactly what you want to do and you're passionate about it, then you just go into that field. And yeah, I don't know, it's such a different mentality, because I feel like there's so much emphasis on like people going to school. And I think for dancers, we're so, we've all started working at such a young age, like right out of high school, that I feel like for us, that's our experience. Like, we learn everything we know about ballet from working in the world, and that's something like a school cannot really teach you.
I agree 100%.
And I feel like there's some like parallel to, and maybe you can talk about this now, some parallel to you starting ballet, because I hear that you started ballet really late, and I feel like you probably poured that same energy that you did, into flipping companies to when you first started ballet. So can you talk a little bit about like how you started dance and
yeah, yeah.
age.
Just to elaborate on what you just said, because I'm 100% on board. You always see these dancers that probably coming out of school, you would have said, is he ever going to be anything? And he's maybe going to kill me for saying that. But for example, look at Pascal Mola. I think coming out of school, people wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, he's going to be the next, like the shit. You know, he didn't really have feet. He didn't really have legs, but he knew how to work in a company, right? He knew how to brand himself, how to get the right parts that were right for him. And yeah, that was his aquarium, right? A ballet company, right? Whereas other much more talented people never went that far, even though they should have, in a way, right? And I think it's very similar. It is about adjusting to adjust, working. Pascal Mola as well, somebody who worked very hard. Yeah. But then also it's about adjusting to your environments, right? Yeah. And I think when you're accepting environments, you're adjusting to environments, yeah, you can go really far. And of course you need to work hard. But
that's something that I definitely learned in a ballet company. Like you, and I don't know if it's more so in America or if it's all over the world. I mean, you can tell me because you've worked in companies in Europe as well, but like you always think you have to have, you know, a type of body, a certain look to become a professional, like to get far in the ballet world. And then you realize the people who really want it will get there, even though they don't have exactly what it take or what you think it takes. But like if you see them on stage, and Pascal always had this like spark, there's something special about him. When he entered the stage, you cannot take your eyes off of him. And yes, I don't know, it's I guess a testament to like you can do whatever the hell you want if you really, really want it.
I absolutely agree. And I think it really is being honest with yourself, right? Where can you place yourself? Because now we keep having the same example of Pascal Mola, but now that we are, he probably would have never been a principal in Paris Opera. I think he even went to school there for a while. Right. But I think he understood that, right? So there is companies that are not for him. And I think so. And I think he went to Monaco, which I think was a great move on his part to go to a company where it's sort of like neoclassical, and it fits to him, and he can make his way up and then go from there. Yeah. And I think that's another one, you know, move. If you like for dancers, I think if you're not in the right spot, at least give yourself the chance to look around whether there is another company that is right for you. And because you have the Mola, like in Hamburg, Gigi Hyatt, for example, she really didn't have a dancer body, and she was like the muse in Hamburg. She was huge, right? And again, it was the right place for her. And so I think you always have these dancers. I mean, yourself, for example, you would have been a principal anywhere eventually, but you always have
about that. Thank you.
Yeah, but you have a lot of these dancers that really should look out for their place, I think. And I think it's in life. It's anywhere in life like that.
Sorry. And okay, so now let's circle back to how you started as a dancer and like, yeah, I think there's a parallel between you starting or taking over these failing companies and turning it around to like how you started dance.
Yeah. So yeah, I started super late. I started actually, I was doing a musical when I was small. I didn't realize guys would do ballet. And so by the age of 14 or 13, I was doing this musical. And I saw the first time ballet dancers there, and I was amazed. And then it turned out that my neighbors were dancers with Pina Bausch.
Oh, no way.
Yes, and if it wasn't for them, I would have never really known more about it. And they showed me this dance series called Dancers, which was about male dancers, and by Peter Schaufuss back then. And I saw this, and there was Schaufuss and Baryshnikov, and they were jumping and flying, and it was just incredible. And from then on, I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. Yeah. And so then I started. I think I was like 15 or something like this. So it was very late. And this typical, I've never really seen this movie, Billy Elliot, but it sounds from what people tell me very much like it. So, you know, you're 15 years old and you're standing there beside the 8-year-old girls at the bar in your training pants. It was really that. I mean, I never minded. It was okay because I had the final dream in my head and the final goal in my head. And so, yeah, I was working hard. And even there, I think I was just working frantically harder than anybody else. I was getting up early in the morning. I had to drive with a Vespa even in winter to get like at 7:30 in the morning to the school where there was also the dance there. And then I would have school, then I would dance, and then after the dancing I would still do my own exercises. I would stretch every evening for 2 hours because I wasn't very flexible. And so, step by step, I got there. So but I was always convinced I was going to make it. I think I would have probably been disappointed that I never made it to where I wanted to be. I wanted to be this big principal from ABT or something like this.
I think you made it pretty far, though.
I think for others, for myself, my ambitions were back then were higher. But yeah, so it was, again, it was quite late. It was just jumping into it. It was super naive, and then super crazy work ethic. Plus, I think I always try to find other ways to get there, like with business as well as with dancing. I wasn't a good jumper, so I was trying to find solutions for myself and of how to jump. I wasn't very flexible at first, so I needed to figure out how to get myself flexible. But I would say this is not. I think I think I was pretty crazy with that. But there's more people like that, right? And I think in the long run, they might be later to the game, but I think they have 15, 20 years throughout the professional dance career to keep catching up. So if maybe you're worse, but work hard and you're not in the company by 18, but you're in the company by 21 or 22. I mean, Ruben, our good friend Ruben, also started very late, and I mean he was also crazy work ethic, right? Always working.
It's funny you say you weren't flexible and you weren't a good jumper, because I don't remember that at all. But anyway, but I want to know what you did before the musical. So up until 14, like, what were you interested in, and like what, I guess, where did the shift happen?
Yeah. I always
like a lot of dancers, they start training when they're 5 years old, and ballet is like all they know. So what were you doing up until 14 years of age?
Basically just playing football. I always liked the arts a lot because my mom was sort of interested in the arts. She was very much a hippie person in general and loved a lot of artsy stuff and this and that. So it was always around and I liked it, but really I was into football. I mean, just as I am now, a huge Borussia Dortmund fan. Football was everything to me, and generally sports. And this musical then changed it. It completely opened this new world. I never really thought about it.
That's really cool. I mean, it's fun for me to think about because I have a son now, and it's like, it would be so interesting to watch my son like only be into sports and then all of a sudden have this like new passion for, the arts. So that's pretty cool.
But I think because I'm not, I think there is a big opportunity in, for example, also going into the arts, for example, when your parents were in the arts and stuff like this. I think there's big opportunities there, right? But I think also the luck of it, of us not having had that, is sort of, we don't have any pressure, right? We just do it because we want to do it.
Totally.
because I know a lot of dancers. I mean, we had a lot of dancers around, right? That had parents and this and that. And I think it's tough. I think it's not so easy to.
Yeah, that's true. My parents know nothing about ballet, so anything I do is spectacular, you know, like new and exciting for them. And yeah, I have to say I like that because there's zero pressure because they don't know anything about it, and all they can do is enjoy what we do.
Yeah,
which is pretty
but
cool.
I think also, obviously, okay, now that I said that, there is those and those, right? So for example, I think if you would have, or if you could get your child excited about ballet, I think it would be very different to many that we saw. I don't know, Russian parents, very strict and stuff like that, right? Because I think so what always impressed me about you were always super relaxed, right? Like a huge gift. Like you're adjusting really quickly. And I think it also gave you, and you're relaxed, and that gave you always the possibility to be extremely consistent, I think. Because you were not freaking out. Like, I've never seen you freak out. Like, I've never seen, you know. And I think if you're able to give this like love for ballet, but also sort of like, you know, take it and be relaxed about it, enjoy it, you know. I mean, I guess then it's a different story. How did you ever, actually that's a good point. How did you ever manage to be so relaxed?
I don't think I can function otherwise. I don't know. Everybody has their own way of dealing with stress. Like, I always remember Joan Boada, like, backstage before a huge performance, you know, like opening night Don Q or something like that. Yeah. And he'd be joking around, you know, up until the curtain goes up. And that, I always remember that and thinking, oh, this is how he deals with stress, just like joking around and being chill. And then other dancers are like, headphones on, like zeroed in, and that's how they have to prepare for a performance. Like, for me, I have to actively, I don't know, like joke around and whatnot, so that when I go on stage, I'll have that same feeling, like those same feelings kind of translate onto stage. And I think through the years I've tried different things. Like, you know, I have prepared for a role, you know, several hours before and was more focused than anything, you know, and I think generally that doesn't serve me as a dancer, but also as a human being, as well as if I were just to kind of, you know, played it off like I wasn't as stressed as I actually am. So I don't know. I think everybody just has their different way of dealing with one. Nice.
But I agree with you. To me, it was actually also mostly the Cubans who inspired me to relax, because I mean, obviously they are successful. They are very good at what they're doing. And it's not very often that you see a stressed out Cuban backstage. It's just not something you see a whole lot. And I think, and actually, I mean, I love Joan Boada, of course. Such a wonderful, wonderful person. I really, really like him a lot. And it was funny because I actually mentioned it once to him. I said, well, it's incredible how you're so relaxed. You know, was, I don't know, some gala performance or something like this backstage. And then he would say, well, well, if I can't do it, I'm not going to be able to do it when I'm stressed.
Right. That's true.
If I
by that point,
I can do it. Why not?
Right before you go on stage, if you're not able to do it, you're not going to do it. And if you are, then you are. So, yeah, there's nothing really to worry about at that point. Yeah. So let's get back onto you. What did Mike, our PT, wait, is it our PT? Our PT would be like, enough about me. What do you think about me? I thought that was hilarious. Okay.
It is.
What else am I supposed to ask you? So let's actually continue. I don't know. For me, like to talk about people's stories. So let's go back to, you've taken over the plastics company, you've transformed that, and then another company was like, oh, you did a good job there, I'm going to hire you for marketing specifically, right?
Yeah.
So then from there, what happened next? And I want to actually don't even know where you live now because you've been all over the place. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's go from there to where you are now.
Okay. So I think that's very boring, but then the general manager left. I stepped into this position. I was able to turn this company around. A lot of luck, for sure. Did my MBA in parallel, then overtook this optics company, and with this optics company, this packaging company actually in the UK. Also, long story how it got there and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, I was able to sell it then. Then we started Zarely in 2015, and really Zarely for me was never unlike the other businesses, because I really wanted to. So I had for myself a plan. I wanted to start somehow generating cash. I didn't have any cash, obviously, a dancer, right? So I was like, okay, I had, it was actually while I was dancing, I was investing in stocks quite a bit. So I had 60,000 or something like this to play with, sort of thing. That was actually an investment into the first company, and so on and so on. But I had a plan. I wanted to find a business that can make money, and this optics company was great. It was a market that was just about to boom. Because LED came in. LED was the new thing over like old school lighting. So It was something, okay, that I think that could be something. So then we grew, and my plan really was eventually I want to have enough cash to do good in the world, to survive, but really to focus on to how to make things better. And Zarely had a completely different story in that. That was sort of like a side story to my plan. That wasn't really a plan. Because we were sitting in San Francisco, and as you know, Ruben and Diego, we are like super close. Yeah. And we were discussing like all sorts of different things and what is missing in the market and so on. And really the purpose was like, we were saying, well, first, we feel like there's a lot of innovation that hasn't been done. Like, for example, putting compression into tights, thinking about the whole like dancer life with Z1, Z2, Z3, so recovery, performance. How would you create them really for the purpose and not just it's a tight and it has always been like that.
Right.
But a big part was like, well, we just want to do something together.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do together? And then the second one was, isn't it stupid that dancers are not, or no, the question was more like, how can we make dancers earn as much as football players?
Right.
How can we set up an ecosystem? And obviously we failed miserably at it. But really that was the idea. The idea was how can we use, back then Instagram and all of this was still on the rise. And how can we use all of these things and our friends in the ecosystem to really make it generally more popular and create value for everybody, cash for everybody, really, over commission payments and collaborations and all this sort of thing. To the point that actually, like, we as founders, we have never actually made money with Zarely. I mean, we have a lot of employees and stuff like this by now, but we actually never made money up until now. But also, that was never our purpose in the end. And so that's Zarely, and that's why it might look odd, but so there is this Zarely path that's sort of also still probably nice for me as a connection to my old life and to the arts, really. Like, it makes it more present in my life still. And then there's the other businesses that really were just about, okay, how can I use my lifetime to improve the world? And what tools do I have to do that. And yeah, that's why in parallel is all this like weird nano whatever stuff as well.
So where do you live now?
And yeah, and then where do I live now? I live in a village, simply because that's where this optics company was,
Okay.
by the border to the Netherlands. It's called Kleve in Germany.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it was cool for a time, but now we're moving back to Cologne in Germany.
You're done with village life?
Yes, absolutely done with village life. Actually, my dream is one day to be back in San Francisco. I love San Francisco. It was such a freeing time to do all these things with the arts farm and our performances that we did together, and it was a wonderful, wonderful time. And I still love the vibe. I love the way people collaborate and do business and so on. So I hope one day I'll be back there.
Oh, I feel like you're someone who like sets a goal and then achieves it. So I'm sure you'll find your way back here if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. But along the lines, just like with dancing, it's like, yeah, I have to do this. I have to wait. That's interesting. I have to. So let's see.
You might be 80 years old in San Francisco, but this is not a bad place. You know.
Yeah.
80, so.
Yeah. And you're going to stay in San Francisco? Or are you planning to go back to Vancouver or something?
I am married with a kid now in San Francisco, so I don't know. We're pretty settled here. I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon, but who knows? You know, I'm still dancing with the company. I feel like once I retire, which, you know, getting up there with, I think I might be like the second most senior person in the company now. What?
Oh, no.
Isn't that crazy?
You don't get older. How did you actually, you were really, I don't remember you injured really. Were you ever really injured?
You know, I've been lucky. I've never had a serious injury. Maybe like 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, being pregnant was the longest time I was off of dance. And it was a glorious 9 months of my life. Honestly, and not because I had to not because I didn't have to work anymore. It was just like a time to like actually reinvigorate my passion for dance. Like I could dance because I wanted to, and it was so freeing. Like I would go to the ballet building actually like almost every day because I wanted to go in as opposed to like having to go in and having to work. And I mean, obviously like our schedule is so crazy that most of the time we go to work and we're like sore and we're like, you know, I'm like chronically injured all the time. And it was like the first time in my life where I wasn't in pain and I just like could go in and dance if I wanted to, or I didn't have to if I didn't want to. And it was actually probably, I never watched so much ballet in my life. Like I would go to all the shows. Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, because, you know, our schedule is so crazy when we're working. If I did have a night off, I'd be like, you know, I'm out of here. I'm going to go home and rest and, you know, have a moment to be at home because we're never home. So it was, yeah.
But how did you actually manage not to get injured that much?
Oh God, I don't even know. I mean, I think obviously a lot is just how your body, how you are born physically. I really think that has a big, you know, I think if you're prone to injury, you're just prone to injury. I think that's a huge factor. And then for me, honestly, like the older I get, the more time I spend taking care of my body. So now, I mean, if I'm in the middle of the season, it's like 24/7. I'm just like constantly taking care of my body. And that includes like every day I take class. And for me, like, I honestly, for me personally, and everybody is different, you know, so if you have a different way of working, I think that works for you, that you should go for it. But for me, like taking class every day is a form of therapy. Yeah, like I'm constantly like working on certain things. I don't know. In my head, like every day at bar, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to make certain things stronger so that things hurt less? Or, you know, I'm constantly trying to like dance in a way that is helpful to my body.
Yeah. But see, that's already a big difference to many. Like I was injured all the time because I went into class to see how I can jump higher, make bigger double cabriole or more pirouettes or something like this. I didn't care what my body would do. I mean, I would care after class. I would be like, okay, now I need to do my stretching and recovery. But
Yeah.
you know, that was every day was for me like how to hire faster, whatever. So I think honestly, I think in your case, I think that's a big one, because you're very conscious of actually not just better, but okay, wait, so how do I get stronger? How do I prepare my body or make my body better to function better in the future? Really something that I didn't care. As long as I jump higher tomorrow, all good. If after tomorrow I have my ligaments broken, well, I of that after tomorrow. So and honestly, so for me a big one, for the longest time I grew up thinking like very Russian training, right? So arms have to be very like they would come and they would like hit them, you know, the teachers, they like, yeah, it has to be really strong, it has to be almost like tense. No, it had to be tense to hold it like this. And to me, I think there's few dancers that I've seen, they're so super efficient like you are. I feel like there is usually in your dancing, there's not a muscle that is tensed that shouldn't be tensed. Like it's so efficient, right? And I think that really makes, for example, to many guys have the tendency, I think, to be too tensed. And I think that makes a big difference, because if you think about it, from the moment there's a muscle in tension that shouldn't be in tension, he's going to work against another muscle, right? And I think that's a big one. So your body is working against yourself. And I felt you had this brilliant way of extreme relaxation, but the muscles that had to fire, they fired when they had to fire.
I think that's actually something I really learned over time, because I remember like I remember David would be like, "Why are you breathing so hard? I can hear you breathing from down the hall."
David Karapetian.
This is like kind of like earlier, like the kind of early years when I was doing principal parts, and I like just didn't. I would try so hard in every step that I would get so tired so quickly, and in turn, just like stamina wise, like I felt like I had zero stamina. So I feel like with time you realize where you need to really work and where you need to, you know, work less, and how to be able to work certain muscles that you have to work, and then relax other muscles that you have to relax. And I actually think like that's one thing that I'm thinking about when I start my day at bar. Like every single day, in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to work really hard during bar so that I don't have to work so hard when I get to center. Something like that. I mean, there's so many things I'm thinking of during bar. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm really hungry. What should I get for breakfast? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, we've been chatting for a while. I want to,
okay.
I had something, what was I wanting to ask you? Oh, damn.
I think that was plenty, no?
What? That was like...
that was plenty, no?
Yeah, that was a lot. Oh, I wanted to finish with something though, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, well, I'm so glad I got to talk to you.
Me too.
So many years.
Yeah. Me too. I'm so glad I got to talk to you. I think we did a great job. 55 minutes. I think our marketing cannot complain about us.
Well, you are the marketing pro, so
And no. I was sold as that. I've never been a pro in my life of anything really. But funny. But I think also, you know what? We have been talking for 55 minutes, and it's only 16 people there. This is like number there. No, that's the number. So
yeah.
like
Hey,
14.
but people, it's live now, and that's how many people are here live. But anybody can look at this chat later too. So you don't know how many people you'll reach later. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We're the worst. We're like the worst social media people.
Yeah. If people would have seen how we are like trying to set this whole thing up, like, where do I have to push? What do I have to do? No. That was pretty funny.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do I have to do something now for this? Like, or do I just end it?
Like press the X or something.
Are we gonna cancel? Are people gonna like kill us? Okay.
I think we're good. Well, anyway, much love to you, and hopefully I'll see you soon, like in real life. Oh, yes, you know what? I know what I was gonna. What? I remember now. What are you doing in this quarantine? Oh wait, are you guys still in quarantine? What's your village? What are the rules in your village right now?
The rules in our village are so actually now it just started lifting in Germany. It was full on pretty much like everywhere, I guess. And now you can go out, you can go shopping again with a face mask. Today was the first day where I could go to CrossFit again. So that was a good day. I'm 10 kilos heavier.
Were there other people there?
Was I was
Were there other people there?
Yes, and you have to keep a certain distance and yada yada. You know, you have to put a towel underneath you for anything that's on the floor. Blah blah. So yeah, it's still going, but it's pretty much over. But well, pretty much no, it's still ongoing. But you can live your life with mask and distance. Let's say. And I think this week even restaurants are also starting. And to your first question, so yeah, I was working from home pretty much all the time, which is not really much of a problem in my case, and enjoying my wife and my kid shitloads.
Okay, can I just say, what? You have a wife and a kid?
Yeah.
Let's just say I knew Mateo when he was young and free and single.
Yeah,
not
happy,
married.
Super happy. No. Yes.
I loved it. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I'm so happy for myself. I mean,
I feel like when I knew you were like, I'm never getting married and I'm never going to have a kid. And look at you now.
Oh, yeah, I was 100% sure. And now it's the best thing ever.
Amazing.
How good for you? But for you, it's super stressful, no? Like, besides dancing and stuff? Kid?
Having a kid? It is by far the hardest thing I've ever done. One, pushing a kid out of me was the hardest thing I've ever done. And then now, two, trying to keep this kid alive is also probably the hardest thing I'll ever do. But, oh, it's amazing. He's such an amazing kid. And, yeah, married life, motherhood, I'm enjoying it. I love it. It's incredible. Cool.
I'm not motherhood, but, yeah, I love the whole family thing. Cool. Yubu, you want to say bye? There she is. No? Don't run away. Come. Let's say bye. Let's say bye.
Yeah, I want to say bye.
Let's say bye.
Hi, gorgeous girl.
Say bye.
Oh, my gosh. I love you guys. You guys are so cute. My kid and my husband are out on a walk because he's very loud. So.
He was also now with my wonderful
All right. Well, it was so nice to see you.
So nice to see you too. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And, yeah, I think we're going to end it here.
Nice.
If we can.
Love it. Yes,
I'm gonna press
exactly.
this
If you
X.
figure it out.
I'm gonna press this X and see what happens. Bye, Mateo.
Okay. Bye. Say bye, Ju. Say bye. Ja, genau, sehr gut. Bye, nein, Jan. All right, so I'll just do this. Want to end it? Yes. And